Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. It is an honor and a privilege to have my next guest right here with me right now. He is a Heisman Trophy winner, a National Football League Rookie of the Year, a Pro Bowl quarterback, most notably with the Washington Redskins, a person I believe would have been a superstar in the NFL had he not almost had his damn leg decapitated, for crying out loud. Okay, a rising media star in the business, I might add, working on ESPN's NFL Countdown. Obviously, he knows a thing or two about his college football as well, because he's an exceptional college football analyst. And now he is here with his own podcast, RG3 and the Ones, the one and only RG3 himself, Robert Griffin III. What's up, Big Tom? How are you, man? How's everything?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. How you doing? And you the one that's big time. Look at you with the new set and everything.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks so much. You like the suit? I want to make sure you like the suit because, I mean, after I saw you in that hot pink a couple of weeks ago, I had to come up with something fly, knowing I was going to interview you, my brother. I had to know that.
Suit is on point, my brother.
Man, listen, before we even get into your podcast, because I definitely want to talk about that, we were talking about a couple of things in the world of college football, and I know you do a lot of NFL, but obviously you're an exceptional college football analyst as well. First order of business is Michigan and what's transpiring there. I've been of the mindset that if you have an open investigation, if there's still allegations out there that are alive and still gaining momentum about how this sign stealing scandal was legit and it gave Michigan an unfair advantage. My belief is if it went that far, then they shouldn't be in the college football playoffs. Where do you stand on all of that?
Now, you know I respect you, Stephen A., but we don't always agree
of course.
on our opinions.
Right.
And in this case, I feel like because this isn't anything criminal, the full investigation should take place. Now, I know that behind closed doors, there was a full investigation done beforehand by a private investigator that was then dropped on the NCAA. But if you're the NCAA, who I know didn't make the decision on whether or not to suspend Jim Harbaugh, that was the Big Ten, and they have their own set of rules and bylaws. I think that the full investigation from the NCAA should take place before we decide to punish anybody, whether it's the players, the coach, or anybody involved, because you want to have the full information of what's going on before you make a decision like that, because it does change people's lives.
I swear to you, you're right about that, RG3. I'm not saying that they should suspend them or not even allow them to play in the college football playoffs. Now, I'm saying if it is found that they were indeed sign stealing, I'm tired of people talking about the kids at Michigan. What about the kids at Alabama, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas? Because somebody's going to miss out on one of those Final Four spots for the college football players. That's all I'm saying, RG3. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. The issue there becomes like, how can you prove that they had an advantage on the football field? Right. When I was in college football, people were stealing signs all the time. Everybody does it. Really what the crux of the issue is whether or not Michigan broke the rules to steal those signs. So if everyone's stealing signs and everyone's doing everything they can with all the signs on the sidelines and all the different guys giving signals on the sideline to keep a team off balance, how can you prove that it actually gave them an advantage on the football field? That, to me, is where the question comes into play. Whether they get disciplined or not, that will be by the bylaws of if they broke the rules. If they broke the rules, they're going to get disciplined. But I don't think that they should be eliminated from the college football playoff now or in the future, because I don't think it's that big of a deal when it comes to the advantage on the football field.
Cool, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. Transitioning to Jimbo Fisher for a second. He lost his job at Texas A&M, finished 45-25 in his 9 years there. You know, obviously didn't get the job done, but still walked away with a $76 million buyout. I mean, Lord have mercy, only in America, RG3, only in America. First of all, was it time for him to go, number one? And number two, what do you think about my suggestion that primetime Deion Sanders needs to get the call and Texas A&M needs to buy him out of his contract at Colorado to bring him to Texas A&M? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Stephen A., I'm not a guy that likes to call for guys' jobs. I'm very fond of Jimbo. My wife is actually a Florida State Seminole, so Jimbo was kind of instrumental in letting me get a chance to go out there and shoot my shot at my wife. But that's a story for the time. And so I appreciate Jimbo a lot. When you talk about A&M, he didn't do what they asked him to come there and do, and they got impatient. When you're making that much money, there's going to be an increase of scrutiny on what you're doing, and A&M was nowhere close to getting to a national championship. So in that regard, I understand why they did it. And me and you, we're in the wrong business, man, because $76 million not to coach?
Not to coach.
Not to coach.
Not to coach.
Come on, man. But your suggestion about Deion is one that I contemplated putting out there.
Okay.
The only reason I didn't put it out there was because of what he is doing at Colorado and taking his son now to a third school with him to go and try to build a new roster, I think would be very difficult. But I do think at some point, a guy like Prime Time would excel in the SEC, just like you said he would, with the amount of money that they'll pour into the program, the amount of guys that they'll be able to get. Because me and you both know this. He's struggling on the O&D line in Colorado.
No question.
They can't protect his son, and they're not getting after the quarterback. At A&M, that would not be the problem. I mean, these guys basically paid for like 17 five-star guys to just go to Texas A&M. So I'm not mad at it. And if he did it, I would completely understand it. So I'm in full support with you on that one. Prime time to A&M would be amazing. I just don't know if it happens because of his son.
And you starred at Baylor, which is obviously in Texas, for crying out loud. You know about them hogs down there in Texas, them meat potato brothers eating whole chickens for breakfast and stuff like that. I mean, that's the kind of brothers that he needs down there, RG3. That's the kind of brothers he needs. But let me transition to you, man, because obviously you've got a podcast coming out. I want you to tell the world about it. RG3 and the Ones, and obviously it's produced by Wave Sports and Entertainment. Give them some props, no doubt about that. Yep. Those are some good brothers over there. Not to mention the fact that you're doing it on a weekly basis each Thursday, if I remember correctly. The inspiration behind this is what?
Well, I mean, to be honest, Stephen A., you know, you've been a pioneer in this game for such a long time, and I've been able to learn and study guys like yourself and what they've been doing. And in this long form format of a podcast, you get to get your full opinion out there. And you know, out on TV, you got teammates that you're working with, and the segments don't always go as long as you want them to go. I know you don't have that much of an issue on First Take because you guys get more space. But when you're on shows like Monday Night Countdown and Get Up, you don't have 5, 6, 20, 30 minutes to talk about something. So this is an opportunity for me to kind of go out and seek out the truth and what I believe to be the truth in sports and how sports should be presented to the fan. Celebrate that, celebrate the athletes that we bring on. And at the end of the day, I want everyone that walks away from the show to take something from the show that can help them become one of those ones in their own life. And that's why I want you on the show as well, because of what you've been able to do. What you've been able to do is nothing short of amazing. And I want you to know that. We appreciate that. And I know that there's a lot out there that gets said about the industry and how you change the industry and this, that, and the other. But the bottom line is you're one of one, and we want to have you and have that conversation on the show for sure.
Well, you're one of my boys. That's consider it done. I'm coming on. When you call me, I'll be there. Make no mistake about it. But I want to ask you this. You talked about just getting your truth out and speaking your mind and having an opportunity to really, really elaborate extensively on the kind of things that you want to say. What I would ask is, as a former athlete who's now in the industry, how do you feel about the industry and the need to have podcasts like yours? Because you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't feel there was a need. Where do you think the need lies, and why do you feel it is so needed?
Yeah, you know, I actually put out a tweet just the other day about how the industry looks at Dak Prescott's interceptions, and there's so much more scrutiny around that than they have around guys like Josh Allen, who has been a turnover machine really since 2018.
That's a good point.
Now, for me, I don't look at it and say, all right, well, the industry is bashing one guy, so I'm going to go bash another guy unfairly just because this is happening. I do understand that Dak Prescott plays for the Dallas Cowboys, and that comes with more scrutiny. But for me, what I see in the industry is there's an inherent negativity about these guys and these players. And a lot of times it can spill over into the fans. When you look at the NFL in particular, only 0.2% of high school football players make it to the NFL.
Right.
So these brothers, they're really good at what they do. We have to celebrate that. And I think that the industry at times has gone away from giving constructive criticism and giving just criticism. So I felt like that's the only reason I'm doing this right now. I don't do this for the money. I do it for fun. I took care of my NFL money, thank God. Family squared away. So I do this because I feel like guys' stories need to be told the right way. And there's been times when our industry has shifted away from that and just to try to say the wildest thing possible so we can get clicks and get mentions and get views. So that's why I joined in, and that's why I wanted to do the podcast, because I have an opportunity to set the record straight.
I'm wondering what level of culpability does, and I'll ask this question to you as a former star athlete. I've asked it to Ryan Clarks, my man Swagoo, Marcus Smith. One of the greatest honors I have by doing my day job at ESPN is I get to be friends with all of y'all. We're all brothers, and we talk to each other. And I didn't play football, so y'all teach me the game, and I know when to fall back. But one of the things that I get on guys about is that as a professional journalist in the end, a lot of times y'all don't distinguish the journalist from the blogosphere. The blogosphere goes out there and they do exactly what you're saying. But you have journalists that dot I's, cross T's, and make sure that their commentary is balanced. Even when I'm criticizing the Cowboys, I make sure everybody knows I'm trolling them. I'm having fun. I'm not pretending to be something, but I really got another agenda. When I'm having fun, I say so. When I'm trolling, I say so. When I'm serious, I say so. What is it about y'all, meaning people like yourself and others who are former professional athletes, where you believe that an audience should embrace a level of trust or extend a level of trust in you? Because one could argue, not you personally, but former athletes are going to be so protective because of what you've had to shield yourself from. Your objectivity comes into question. How do you combat that?
So what I would say to you is that I had an experience with C.J. Stroud, right? Young brother, he's playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. Balling out. I had an experience with CJ last year where I was doing the Heisman list every week, and CJ was always on the list, but he was never number 1. So I ran into CJ at the Heisman dinner before with the Heisman finalists, and he was like a little upset.
Wow.
So he comes to me and we're talking about it, and he basically tells me like, hey man, I should have been number 1 on the list. I've been doing all this, and I talked to him. I said, CJ, you were on the list. Right. So for me, there's going to be an inherent feeling from every athlete that you talk about, Stephen A., where they're going to be upset about something that you said because you didn't say they were the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Right.
I understand that. It's when you get into things like he's garbage.
Right.
He's terrible. He couldn't do this. And it's like some of that is entertainment, and you're one of the best in the world at entertaining, like hands down. And I think you do know that, and you've built that reputation. People love to watch you. But when it comes to when that stuff starts to creep into the journalistic part of it, when now they're writing that type of stuff, I encourage you to go read some of the articles that get put out, even by media that covers certain teams. Right. And look at the innate negativity within the article that could have been taken out. Right. For me, I think for us as analysts, as former players, not making it personal is all we want from the media. I'm in the media now. Right. So I have to give my constructive criticism and tell them when they're playing bad. And not everybody likes that, but that's okay. As long as I don't make it personal and attach something to a guy's name that now is going to carry on with him for the rest of his career, that's where I think, all right, now this is where I can understand the players get
you absolutely have a point there, because I remember, man, I'm still dealing with stuff from Kwame Brown to this day, for crying out loud. And don't get me wrong, I meant what the hell I said when I said it. The problem is, RG3, I didn't know that 15, 16 years later, it was going to be a meme and he was going to be on podcasts like The Pivot and other places saying I cost him endorsement deals. I didn't know that stuff. I didn't realize it. So now I guard myself with it. But in the same breath, I also want to make sure that everybody understands, I believe the listener, the viewer, etc., has a degree of intelligence where they understand if we're saying somebody put forth a trash performance, we're talking about him versus his contemporaries. We're not talking about him versus somebody like us. So I'm asking, do you have to guard what you say in such a literal way that you strip people from the awe factor or the wow factor or the shock factor? Because it all comes with a level of entertainment. How do you believe that gets balanced in our industry?
No, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head there. There is an awe factor and a showmanship that comes with a lot of the shows that we do, right? At ESPN, whether it's First Take, which I know you've said it many times, #1 show for feels like 20 years, but I don't know how many years.
12 years. 12. It's
12 years.
12. It'll be 12 in April.
Right?
Yes.
You've done an amazing job of bringing that in. I think when it comes to calling a guy trash, like I think Kwame Brown's point is legit. It cost him deals. It cost him things. So it's like, okay, he was trash. Now how can he get better?
Right.
he was trash on that day. How can he get better?
Right.
James Harden did this that day, but how can he get better? How can he make the team better? And I think that's the next level. The fan, the lowest common denominator, fans feel like everybody should get fired and this guy should do that and this guy should do that. But we got to be able to tell them with our expertise, you got a lot of it over the years, especially in basketball. Right. Hey, this was really bad. It was trash. It was terrible. This is how they can get better and this is how they can utilize them. I think we owe that to the fan.
Right.
Because when we just leave it at trash,
right,
that's the only thing the fan remembers.
And I guess for me, what I would argue about, the only pushback that I would give is that I say it, but then I'd make sure there's an RG3 and a Ryan Clark and a Shannon Sharp and others that point that out as well. And so, you know, because sometimes y'all are saying that everybody ain't as nice as RG3. I've seen Ryan Clark eviscerate dudes. Don't get me started with Shannon and Swagoo, even Kimberly Martin and Mina Kimes and everybody. I mean, make no mistake about it, but you're absolutely right. And I do think there's an elevated level of responsibility, which is why I've said to people, I've had regrets about how I termed Kwame Brown in the past. Had I known it would happen like that, I said, I apologize. I didn't mean for all of that to happen. So I do guard myself in this day and age, and having a podcast I think is incredibly important. Do you believe that you're going to be able to pull off a level of success in terms of influencing other people to conduct themselves the way that you will and the way you hope they will? And if so, how do you think that's going to benefit you and your podcast?
Stephen A., I would say that I don't think enough of myself to think that I can change the industry by myself.
Right.
But I do think that with what I try to do in motivation on my own platform is inspire people to take that first step, right? Just because you can't change the whole world with the way that you act doesn't mean that you can't change one individual person's life,
right,
one individual person's world. So for me, that's kind of the mindset I'm taking towards this. I want to be able to grow this in a way that is fun for the listener. They get to learn something. We're going to voice our displeasure and we're going to talk about what someone's not doing right. But I'm not going to give up on the industry as a whole to say, man, they're by themselves. I'm going to be different. No, I'm trying to bring people along with me. And you're right. We have some of our contemporaries, some of our colleagues that eviscerate guys. And that's the way that they decide to break through. I haven't decided to break through that way. And because of it and having that be the counteract to some other people, I feel like that's why I have been able to grow in this game. And I remember in 2018.
Okay.
I came to First Take with you.
Yeah.
And you specifically told me, you said, man, when you're done playing, you're going to be a star in this game. And I took that to heart. And I appreciate you saying that about me. And I really do appreciate working with you at ESPN and doing this kind of stuff as well.
No doubt about it. As you reflect, before I let you get on out of here, and you reflect on your career, where you are now, where you were, how much did the narratives about you, particularly coming out of Washington, being close with former owner Daniel Snyder, and I know that you didn't know a lot of the nonsense that we all later found out, so I'm certainly not holding you accountable, but I'm just talking about the communication. We was the owner of the franchise, obviously, in Washington, and you were the star rookie quarterback. The narratives that were written about you, whatever they may be in your career, how much did that influence you sitting where you're sitting today, not just on ESPN, but with this podcast, RG3 and the Ones? How much did that experience influence you to be in this position? And is there anything specific that stood out that made you say, oh, I'm definitely going to get into the business because I can't stand these damn narratives that are being put out about me?
Yeah, I would say that almost 100% of those narratives after my rookie year, because if you remember my rookie year, everything was golden, right? I had more commercials my rookie year than I had my second and third years or fourth years in the league.
Wow.
But because we were winning, it wasn't a problem. And it was like once we started losing, then all the narratives started coming out, and it was a lot of backbiting going on between the owner and the head coach. And a lot of the stuff that was said wasn't true.
Okay.
And I won't get into all of that, but what I will say is that everything I went through in my career, I never thought I'd be doing this, Stephen A. When we saw each other in 2018 and I came and I did the car wash at ESPN, I had no desire to do TV. I had no desire to do TV in 2021 when I was a free agent after playing with the Ravens. But my broadcast agent told me, hey, go do this audition and it'll work out for you. I think you'll be great at this. And ESPN and Fox were blown away with the audition. And that let me know at that point, like maybe this is what God is calling me to do. calling me to come in and be able to tell guys stories the right way because mine wasn't. And those guys don't deserve to get punished in the same way that I did or have their careers hurt in the same way that I did. So I don't try to police everybody. I've had moments where I've gotten upset with certain guys about certain things and called them out about it. But you know this, you can't police everybody. Right. We're way too busy doing all the things that we're doing to go out there and try to check every single individual. Only thing we can do is try to make an impact the way that we can make an impact.
Got you. Before I let you get on out of here, man, I need rapid fire, quick answers to these questions.
Okay.
CJ Stroud, Rookie of the Year?
100%.
MVP?
He is in my top 5.
Top 5?
Yes, he's number 5 in my top 5.
Give me the other 4 right now.
Other 4 would be A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, Dak Prescott at 4.
Dak Prescott!
And then C.J. Stroud.
Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott?
Yeah. Come on now.
The MVP? And a league MVP? Did you watch him against San Francisco?
I watched him against San Francisco.
Did you watch what happened against San Francisco? Did you watch him against Arizona?
Yes, you're talking about one game.
That's 2 I just gave you.
Over the past 4 games for Dak Prescott, he's got 12 touchdown passes.
Lord.
He's got a passer rating of 125.
And 2 of them was against the New York Giants, who don't even resemble an NFL team.
I'm just saying, they in the NFL, ain't they?
All right.
They in the NFL.
Buffalo
I'm
Bills.
giving Dak Prescott his flowers right now. He's playing at a super high level, and he's proven that he is him. He's always been that way.
Oh, no problem. Moving on. Buffalo Bills, Ken Dorsey loses his job as offensive coordinator. Did he deserve that?
Right. He did not. He was not the problem. The question I asked for you is he fired if they make that field goal? Because if he's not fired if he makes that field goal, they make that field goal, or they miss the field goal. I mean, then why is he fired today?
Could it be because
somebody's head had to roll?
Could it be because Stephon Diggs is not happy and somebody's head had to roll?
Say what?
Stephon Diggs ain't happy and somebody's head had to roll. You wanted me to repeat it? I repeated it.
No,
all right, okay, I got it.
Let's just say that he was not the problem, but if they miss the playoffs, man, there gonna be some more heads rolling for sure.
Biggest threat in the AFC to the Kansas City Chiefs, reigning defending Super Bowl champions.
They just lost. I know they just lost to the Cleveland Browns. Baltimore Ravens, because they are dominant when they're playing at their highest level. There's not a team in the league that can beat them.
Top team in the NFC, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Dallas, or the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I know everybody wants to say Detroit, but it's still Philly. Philly has been winning games all year when they're not at full strength. Jalen Hurts isn't at full strength, and they keep finding ways to get it done. Passing game, running game, defense is going to get better. Their defense has not been great so far this year. So I think with Jason Kelce and the boys up front, they're the best team in the NFC.
Coach of the Year.
Ooh,
that's the easy one, RG3. It's the easy one.
Who you think it is?
DeMeco Ryans, Houston.
You think it's
easily
DeMeco Ryans because they're 5-4? I would say at the halfway point of the year, DeMeco Ryans is easily Coach of the Year.
Okay,
I would say that. I still think that Mike McDaniel will win it. In Miami, but halfway through, DeMeco for sure.
Well, he's 6-3. DeMeco's 5-4. He might win the AFC South. With a rookie quarterback throwing for damn near 5,000 yards. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out.
I'm just saying. You. I'm not hating on the brother. I think he's doing great.
RG3 and the Ones. Wave Sports and Entertainment. That's who's producing it. Coming on every Thursday. Go ahead. Finish. I'll give you the last word, buddy.
Appreciate you, dog. I got a question for you, fam.
Please.
All right. You talking about how you love Latino women.
All right, I do.
Okay.
My woman's not a Latino. I love her dearly, but I ain't gonna deny, what I see. I mean, I'm not blind. I'm just saying what I see,
So, are you in a relationship right now?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, Stephen A.
Yes, I am.
See, so you talk about how it's a little harder to date in today's age. You know what I'm saying? And
not hard for me. I was just talking about the American public. I mean, I'm fine.
Not for you, because you got it like that.
I mean, I'm in a good spot. I'm good. Life is good.
Life is good. That's good to hear. See, so now that since you're in a relationship, I'm gonna go ahead and let it go. Because you was talking about Latino women.
No,
I was thinking
I was just talking about what I see and the fact that I'm not blind and my eyes have been better and all of that other stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong with noticing beauty. If you can notice exceptional play of professional athletes and how they play the game of basketball, football, and stuff like that, you can certainly notice the beauty on the opposite sex.
So is marriage on the horizon for you?
That's none of nobody's business. I'm pleading the fifth on that. I'm pleading the fifth. Get the hell out of here, man. Go do your damn podcast. RG3 and the Ones, man. I'll talk to you later.
Appreciate you, dog.
One love, baby.